Eagles Nation, listen up. Eagles, something huge is brewing behind the scenes in Philadelphia. And if you bleed green, you need to hear this right now. The energy is electric, the rumors are flying, and the stakes have never been higher. Everyone knows, winning a Super Bowl takes more than just talent. It takes heart, vision, and battle-ready leaders. And guess what? I've got fresh updates on what Nick Sirianni and the crew are cooking up. If you've been riding with the birds for years or just joined the flock, hit that like button and show your pride. Flex biceps, and if your heart races every time you hear "Fly, Eagles Fly," drop a comment below saying, "Go Eagles!" My blood is green and white. Greenheart American football, let's get into it. The Eagles are gearing up for their biggest flight yet. The Philadelphia Eagles are making serious waves in the front office, and fans, this could be a game-changing move. Joe Douglas is back. That's right. One of Howie Roseman's most trusted former allies in building the Super Bowl 52 roster has returned to Philadelphia. And this isn't just another nostalgic reunion. This is strategic. After being let go by the New York Jets, where he served as general manager from 2019 through 2024, Douglas is now taking on a senior scouting role with the Eagles. Not as high-ranking as before, but don't be fooled, the impact could be massive. Let's talk about Joe Douglas' resume for a moment. This guy knows football. He cut his teeth in one of the most respected organizations in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens, from 2000 to 2014, during which time the Ravens became a symbol of smart drafting and team building. Then in 2015, he moved to the Chicago Bears as the director of college scouting. That experience and eye for talent is exactly what drew Howie Roseman's attention, and Douglas was brought into the Eagles front office in 2016, eventually becoming the vice president of player personnel. And here's where it gets real. Douglas was a key piece of the puzzle in assembling that unforgettable Super Bowl 52 squad. We're talking about a mix of gritty veterans and high-ceiling young talent. Alshon Jeffrey, Chris Long, Patrick Robinson, LeGarrette Blount, all crucial free agent additions. On top of that, they snagged players like Timmy Jernigan and Jay Ajayi. That 2017 team didn't just win a championship, it defined a new era of Eagles football. But even after that, Douglas stayed with the Birds for 2 more years, and the 2018 draft might have been one of the most underrated wins in recent memory. That class brought in Dallas Goedert, Avonte Maddox, Josh Sweat, and Jordan Mailata, guys who've become essential to the team's core. So when we're talking about Joe Douglas coming back, it's not just nostalgia. It's about bringing back a football mind who knows how to scout, how to build, and how to win. Now sure, critics will point out his 32-68 record with the Jets, and that's fair. But here's the truth. The Jets never got the quarterback position right. You can't win in today's NFL without a guy under center. Douglas brought in talent, but the instability at QB and overall dysfunction of that franchise are well documented. That situation doesn't diminish what he's capable of. Back in Philly, under Howie Roseman's leadership, in an environment that actually functions, Joe Douglas can thrive. And let's not forget, the Eagles needed this move. The front office has lost some key figures since winning their second Super Bowl this past February. Director of College Scouting Anthony Patch is now with the Raiders as a senior personnel executive. Brandon Hunt, previously the senior director of scouting, followed him to Las Vegas and was named vice president of player personnel. Jordan Dizon, a national scout, just took a job with the Denver Broncos under Sean Payton. That's a lot of institutional knowledge walking out the door. This is what happens when you're winning. Your staff becomes a pipeline for the rest of the league, and the Eagles have become a model franchise. When people around the league see your drafts hitting and your free agent signings panning out, they want a piece of that. Howie Roseman has seen GMs like Andrew Berry and now Joe Douglas, once again, come out of his tree. The Eagles keep getting poached, but they keep replenishing, and that's why they're still competing at the highest level. And speaking of elite execution, let's talk about the brotherly shove, the Tush Push. It's been under fire once again, with the Packers pitching a rule change to remove the push element, citing safety concerns. But here's the kicker. The NFL itself conducted studies and found no injury risk with the play. None. Zero. This isn't about safety. It's about envy. The Eagles are just flat out better at this than anyone else in the league. They've got a quarterback in Jalen Hurts who can squat 600 pounds, and they've got an offensive line stacked with pro bowlers and all pros. This is football, folks. It's about brute force, physicality, and innovation. You don't ban a play because one team is better at it than the rest. You study them. You catch up. That's the competitive spirit the NFL should stand for. Even Eagles owner Jeffrey Lurie chimed in with some strong words. He made it clear that the organization takes safety seriously, but the data simply doesn't support the claim that the Tush Push is dangerous. He emphasized how precise and practiced the play is, and how the Eagles invest heavily in the coaching and preparation that makes it work. Jeff Stoutland, one of the best defensive line coaches in football, leads the charge there. It's not just about brute strength. It's about execution, teamwork, and detail. That's football. Other teams aren't failing because the play is unfair. They're failing because they haven't mastered it. Take Buffalo, for instance. The only team outside Philly to attempt it more than a handful of times, and yet their coach Sean McDermott wants it banned. Why? Because they went 0 for 4 trying it in the AFC Championship against the Chiefs. That's not a reason to outlaw play. That's just frustration. And now, let's wrap up this first part by spotlighting a player who might just be emerging as a new face of the franchise. Cornerback Cooper DeJean. He turned heads at the Eagles Autism Challenge, where the team raised over $10 million. There were plenty of big names at that event, current and former stars, but fans, especially the kids, were flocking to Cooper. Number 33 was everywhere. People wanted selfies, autographs, and yes, those green DeJean jerseys were spotted in big numbers. Even during Super Bowl week, the buzz around DeJean was noticeable, and he's earned it. The pick six of Patrick Mahomes? Legendary. Highest PFF grade among corners with 100-plus snaps? That's elite. His versatility, athleticism, and physicality helped turn the Eagles' defense around after he became a starter in Week 6. Since then, Philly's defense ranked number 1 in the NFL. He's not just making plays. He's making history, becoming the first white starting cornerback in the NFL since Jason Sehorn in the early 2000s. But beyond that, it's his personality, the way he connects with fans, and the quiet confidence he brings that makes you think, this guy might just be one of the next great Eagles leaders. So here's the question, Eagles fans, do you think Cooper DeJean is the next true face of this franchise? Let me know in the comments. And when you're ready, just say second part, and I'll drop the continuation of this story right here. What's really fascinating isn't just the emergence of Cooper DeJean as a fan favorite, but what it says about the direction of the Philadelphia Eagles franchise. In a city that has long revered its legends, from Brian Dawkins to Jason Kelce, for a young cornerback to already be pulling in that level of attention is incredibly telling. The fans aren't just excited about what he's done. They're investing in what he represents. Think about it. In an era where shutdown corners are at a premium, the Eagles might have just found their next defensive centerpiece. And he's not doing it quietly. That pick six against Patrick Mahomes wasn't just a highlight. It was a message. A message that this guy plays with swagger, intelligence, and fearlessness. Since taking over as a starter coming out of the bye week, the Eagles have statistically fielded the top-ranked defense in the entire league. That isn't coincidence. That's impact. It's even more impressive when you consider that DeJean wasn't handed anything. He had to earn his spot. He climbed his way up through hard work, and once he got on the field, he never looked back. But what might be even more critical is how seamlessly he fits into the new-look Eagles secondary. With Quinyon Mitchell alongside him, another absolute stud, this young tandem could anchor the Eagles' defense for years. Physical, athletic, smart, and resilient, these are the qualities that define great defensive backfields. And if you're an Eagles fan, you should be fired up about this. But there's another layer to this story that can't be ignored. Cooper DeJean is also bringing something intangible to the table, a cultural presence. When fans, especially younger ones, start gravitating toward a player, showing up in his jersey, crowding him at events, and chanting his